victory of sorts at the southern border in Texas. Here's ABC's Jim Ryan.
Earlier this month, President Biden signed an executive action automatically denying entry to migrants if they're claiming asylum between.
If you want to listen to what we're doing, we've got headphones there. Although sometimes the volume is a little bit janky on them. Hi there and good morning. You're watching the video live stream on YouTube, Facebook, or X. Thanks for joining us. This is the WSJM Morning Show, and my guest this morning is none other than Arthur Havlicek. He is the president and CEO of Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber. Thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here.
We really appreciate it. We're going to get to some news, local news, in just a moment. You have one child.
One child, first one.
What's her name?
Nora.
How's she doing? How old is she?
So she is coming up on 9 months, and is just the absolute most wonderful little baby. She sleeps well, eats well, travels well. She's got a full head of hair and a full personality. It has been an absolute joy.
You started that college fund yet?
Oh yeah, putting it away. She's got a 401k seated. I mean, she's good to go.
That's
set
awesome.
For life.
All right, we'll talk more about Nora and other things of Arthur in just a few moments. It's the WSJM Morning Show. Thanks for joining us.
Visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Why is Navage perfect for allergy sufferers? Rhino Systems Medical Director Dr. Howard Levine explains.
If someone's exposed to allergens, they can get rid of those immediately by washing out the nose. Navage works by pulling saline in one nostril, through the nose and out the other nostril, sucking out allergens, mucus, dust, and germs. Experience on-the-spot relief so you can breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier.
Navage is available at Sam's Club, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or online at Navage.com. Navage, breathe easy.
At Audubon Imports, we understand that your time is valuable. That's why we're here to offer you the most reliable and efficient service. With over 30 years of combined experience, our team of experts is equipped to handle any challenge your car might present. From routine maintenance to complex repairs, we've got you covered. This is more than just a business to us. I grew up right here, and since opening up shop in 2007, I've dedicated myself to providing our community with the highest quality automotive service. Visit Audubon Imports today and experience the difference dedication makes.
From the Pat Moody Studios, this is News Talk Sports 94.9. WSJM FM Benton Harbor, St. Joseph. Depend on us. WSJM News now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
And taking a look at some of the local news from our WSJM Newsroom, a reconstruction project planned for part of Botham Avenue in St. Joseph is getting some pushback from residents. St. Joseph City Engineer Tim Zebel told city commissioners at their Monday meeting the work planned for next year between Niles Avenue and South State Street will involve the installation of new water mains and a new non-motorized path or bike lane. Zebel said the city qualifies for a $687,000 surface transportation block grant from the federal government for the project, but those will come with some special requirements.
That pays for streets and drainage improvements, but like any federal money, there's a catch to it, and we have to follow the complete streets policy, which also calls for non-motorized facilities.
The new non-motorized path or sidewalk on the south side of the street will limit on-street parking. Zebel said the city will install some pocket parking areas along the north side of the street, like those seen on Langley. Now, all of this will make the removal of 5 trees necessary, something nearby residents are opposed to. They made their voices heard at Monday's meeting. The answer from the city was essentially that the work has to be done and the tree removals cannot be avoided. Commissioners approved the non-motorized path and the pocket parking proposal. The project's total cost will be about $1.5 million. The Berrien County Election Commission has rejected recall petition language filed against 3 members of the Brandywine Community Schools Board of Education. The commission this week determined that the wording of the petitions was not clear enough to allow a recall effort to move forward. Retired Brandywine Superintendent John Jarp submitted the petitions seeking to remove 3 members of the school board for voting against a measure that would have moved public comment during the board meetings to the beginning of the agenda. Now, that came amid controversy about school board efforts to block certain books from the district's libraries. Jarp said he doesn't plan to file a new recall petition at this time. The city of Bridgman is gearing up for its 75th birthday celebration. Bridgman began as a village mapped out by George Bridgman, who was in the lumber business in 1870. It became a city officially in 1949. Greater Bridgman Area Chamber and Growth Alliance Director Nancy Kiernan tells us preparations for the anniversary celebration have been underway for months. It's set now for July 13th with activities throughout the downtown all day. Things will kick off in the morning at 8:30 with a 5K run and walk. There will be children's games in the courtyard with the Bridgman Public Library in mid-morning, and then the parade will be held.
There will be a parade beginning at 11 o'clock through the downtown, and we will have just various vendors throughout the downtown bringing different things online to keep the party going.
Kiernan says other activities will include hot dogs and kids' fun at Emmanuel Lutheran Church, a car show at the Haymarket Tap Room, a pop-up market at Transit Artisan Ales, face painting, a beer garden, and food trucks. Got to have food trucks. Food trucks are the best. The Bridgman Mayor, Jan Trapani, says the community used to hold a celebration each year, but then it got sidelined with COVID, and she's glad that something new is getting started.
I'm just so happy that we were able to bring a celebration back to Bridgman. Hopefully it'll grow and we'll have other things involved, but the 75th year of our city is important, and we're really trying to showcase and celebrate that.
Trapani says maybe the birthday celebration can become a regular event annually. The day will wrap up with music in the courtyard featuring the Spaniels Forever from 5 to 7 and a movie screening in the courtyard. They have not yet named the movie. We have a full schedule of Bridgman's 75th birthday celebration at our website, WSJM.com. Arthur, face painting or food trucks?
Food trucks.
Food trucks? Favorite food truck?
Ooh, anything Mexican food.
Yeah.
Anything
That's
Mexican
good stuff.
food is good.
We have good selection around here for
Oh,
this.
100%.
That's a look at the local news that we're following for you today. Just some of the local news items. We'll come up with more coming up at 7:30. Also, we have a special guest in studio today. Arthur Havlicek is joining us. He's the CEO and president of the Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber. We'll get more from him. You can hear the full conversation on our video live stream. Exclusive content begins now. We'll continue our conversation on the air too as well. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
In Major League Baseball from Tuesday night, Tariq Skubal struck out 7.
Do that. Okay. Switches and buttons. Do you do this at your desk? Do you have one of these?
That looks.
I have one of these.
That looks like a control panel for the Cook nuclear plant. That thing is impressive.
We borrowed it from NASA, and unfortunately, they want it back so they can get their space station, their spaceship back. Have you been following what's happening with the International Space? It's not the space station; it's the Starliner.
Yeah, so the astronauts that are up there, and a couple of them, 2 of them, can't get home.
They can't get
because of
home.
some issues.
They got to work overtime up there.
Yeah.
What do you think overtime is for them?
It's got to be pretty handsome.
It's at least time and a half. Maybe it's double time because hazard pay.
At least. I mean, imagine even if it's like $1 per mile.
And then China just brought back minerals from the dark side of the moon. Where was Pink Floyd?
Good point.
Sorry about that.
That's good.
That's bad. How are you doing, Arthur?
Yeah, I've been great.
Good. What's keeping you busy?
Well, so firstborn daughter. keeping
Yes,
us,
Nora.
Nora, she's keeping me busy on a personal level in
That's
the
great.
best possible way. I stayed pretty jam-packed schedule-wise prior to having kids, and I didn't realize how much time I had. Just 9 months ago, the world really changes. But that has been an absolute joy, and the chamber is a rocket ship that works.
Nice.
It's been taking off.
That's good.
And we've been holding on some days for dear life as we've just been growing and coming up with new programs, gaining new members.
Great.
Just nonstop. It's been a wild ride.
That's good. That's good. How long have you been at the chamber? And I want to unpack who you are and how you got to the role that you're in just a few minutes. But how long have you been at the chamber?
I just passed 4 years. So my first day was January 2nd, 2020.
Okay.
I got in
just right before that
found
COVID.
the bathrooms, and then boom, hello COVID.
Oh man.
Yep.
That must have been a wild ride.
Honestly, it was good timing. Having come straight from Lansing,
Yeah.
where I was uniquely equipped to translate a lot of the executive orders that subsequently came out of Lansing. The timing really couldn't have been better because I felt like I was able to be immediately useful.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk about some of the ways that you are useful at the Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber. Talk about some of the direction, what you've done, what we're looking at going forward, and some of the conditions and things that people should be thinking about when they think about the economic health of Southwest Michigan. It's the WSJM Morning Show. Thanks for joining us. Welcome on the live stream. We've got a good audience watching there, so we'll give them some good exclusive content. Think up some content. What's some
I'm working on
exclusive content?
Okay.
No, we'll do that. We have more coming up in just a moment. It is the WSJM Morning Show.
Will excite you and where the ambiance feels like being on vacation right in your own backyard. That place is Planks. Planks Tavern on the Water. Resort quality dining without the resort attitude or the resort bill. Inside the Inn at Harbor Shores on the River Channel in St. Joe. Embark on an island adventure. Tiki Tuesday at Planks Tavern Dockside Bar. From Memorial Day to Labor Day, join us every Tuesday from 4 to 8 p.m. for a journey to paradise. Indulge in a tantalizing selection of tiki-inspired food and drink specials and let the island vibes sweep you away. Go dockside. See the full menu plus creative drink specials and more at plankstavern.com. Planks Tavern on the Water, inside the Inn at Harbor Shores and outside at the Dockside Bar. An experience away from it all without going far.
Mostly cloudy skies to start. A slight chance of a shower for the first part of the day, becoming partly sunny this afternoon. High temperatures will be near 80 inland. We'll stay in the low to mid 70s at the beaches. Tonight down to 55 with cooler and less humid conditions. And mostly sunny on Thursday with high temperatures at 75. I'm WSBT 22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
Thank you for joining us. It is the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg, and we have with us in the studio this morning Arthur Havlicek. He's the president and CEO of the Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber, and he has been so thank you so much for joining us. We are honored. We are pleasured to have the president and CEO here.
Oh, I'm thrilled that you invited me. I appreciate the opportunity.
No, really. I mean, I shortly after starting as news director here at WSJM, you and I met, and you were very welcoming then, and you were very gracious to accept the offer to come in today. So I'm excited to have you in the studio and have people learn a little bit more about you. So let's start at the beginning. Where do you come from? Who are you? Who's Arthur Havlicek?
That is a loaded question, Ken. So to understand me, you really do have to, I guess, understand where I came from.
Yeah.
And that was the south side of Chicago for
Okay.
the first 8 or 9 years of my life.
All right.
Father was a Chicago police officer. Mother worked for Cook County. They had lived in Chicago their entire lives. All the friends, all the family, all lived in Chicago. And as we all know, Chicago's changed, and that change started even before the 90s. And so my dad, like many Chicagoans, had vacationed here in Southwest Michigan pretty much his entire life since he was a child. And, they had a cottage in Union Pier, and his dream was to move to Michigan, to Southwest Michigan specifically, and make that our full-time residency, to give that kind of life to myself and my sister. And so when I was 8 years old, we packed everything up, moved to 4 acres in Bridgman. And let me tell you, playing on 4 acres in Bridgman versus in a gangway or in an alleyway in Chicago, night and day difference. And
Boy.
so, at about 9 years old, I had this real-time appreciation that I think a lot of kids don't have at that age of perspective, that this is an amazing place to grow up. And it was great growing up knowing that.
It was his dream to move to and live in Southwest Michigan. And now you're helping enable a lot of others to realize whether their business or otherwise, dreams here in this area by the work that you're doing at the chamber. How did you get to so you moved here, you were 9 years old, you went to school, then what?
So school at Lake Michigan Catholic at the time, now Our Lady of the Lake. Graduated, not really knowing, what I wanted to do. Some folks have a lot more focus than I did. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
I was interested in really the community and helping pretty much everybody see it through my father's eyes.
Okay.
And so I figured, what's the best way to, do that? I figured I'd learn a little bit about a lot and see if I can go somewhere to make an impact. My freshman year in college, I got involved in politics and ended up spending about 10 years in politics and government.
Wow.
From a very early age. And so I was about 50-50 on what I thought would happen there. I did learn a little bit about a lot.
Yeah.
But the impact wasn't always where you wanted it to be because it's hard to get things done in government. So fast forward 10 years later, I'm on staff for the Michigan House of Representatives, finishing up a pretty good tour of duty there. And, I had this yearning to come home. My dad, there's an added complication. My dad's health was going downhill rapidly. He suffered from Parkinson's and dementia and has since passed.
Sorry.
And so for me, there's always been a shot clock for, I know I want to come home. It was always about coming home, but I had a window in which I had to get home to be there for him, to be there for my mom. And so, this position opened up at the chamber and, I never envisioned working for a chamber of commerce, but in a lot of ways, it's very similar to the work I did up in Lansing, where you're having meetings about, marketing and communications. In the first half hour of the day, you're moving to insurance the next half hour, healthcare the half hour after that. I mean, it's just rapidly, different industries, different issues, and you kind of have to piece it all together and find a solution.
And it's that information flow that can be addictive, right? Because you're learning a little bit about a lot constantly. You're getting constantly bombarded with information, and you have kind of real-time information of what's happening with these issues. How do you translate that into the work that you do at the chamber? And tell people, for those who don't know, you may have heard about the Chamber of Commerce for your entire life and not really known what they do. What does the Chamber of Commerce do, specifically the Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber?
Yeah, so chambers have been around for a really, really, really long time. And just, even if some folks, don't know.
Where is the chamber? Is there a chamber, like a secret chamber somewhere?
The Chamber of Secrets.
Sorry.
So we're located in downtown St. Joe. To answer
that's where
this
chamber
is. Well, in a Chamber of Commerce, in its simplest form, is a business association and a collective impact organization predicated on the idea that many voices are stronger than just one. So if Midwest Family joins the chamber, and they're a great member and have been for a really long time, their voice is added to a lot of the other business voices around town. And those voices collectively, we kind of harness that and leverage that to try to make a better business environment for you all to operate in successfully. We do that through a number of different ways. Advocacy is number one. That's usually what folks think of the most when they think of a Chamber of Commerce. And part of why my background in Lansing was, sort of a perfect transition, because I deal a lot with local, state, and federal regulations, policies, legislation, trying to say, hey, have you considered the ramifications of this? Or, hey, would you consider the benefits of this? So a very educational component to that. But then we do a mix of a lot of other stuff. Really, we are, if you pick up the phone and you call us with an issue, if we don't solve it internally, we have 700 members, 700 plus, I'm losing track, within our network, where we can pick up the phone and connect you with a resource that you need. Some of the things we do: leadership development, a lot of community development work, some business development work, and then some economic development work in some certain places. So we are a very small team, but we have a large mission and a large program of work that I think we're doing pretty well.
And speaking of your team, if people want information on what the Southwest Regional Chamber is up to, Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber is up to, we are honored to have Sarah Spoonholtz join us.
Yes.
During the WSJM morning show every so often.
Yeah, so Sarah is our director of membership and events. If we're not big enough to have more fancy titles, but she's essentially the vice president of the organization. Yeah. She is phenomenal. She's got this mental Rolodex of who everybody is in Berrien County. She's been here her whole life and absolutely loves it. She's got a radio background, as you know.
Well, she graduated from Midwest Family here, so you're welcome.
And she is tremendous at emceeing events, at coming on here and sharing news about the chamber far better than I am. So, if folks are wondering why is it always Sarah out front? Well, why would I hide the talent? I mean,
absolutely.
She is phenomenal. And I think the more we put her out there, the better we do.
I would like to ask you about the key challenges that businesses here locally faced as far as the chamber is concerned right now, and also some of the economic conditions of Southwest Michigan. So we can talk about that in just a couple of moments. We'll talk about some of that on our video live stream. So if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or X, hang on, buckle your seatbelts for that one. We'll be right back with more. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
Loan rates are trending downward. Are you ready to make your move? Sturgis Bank's expert hometown lenders will guide you through the process and take the time to make sure you're ready to become a homeowner. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, looking at a vacation house, or thinking of building, Sturgis Bank can meet your needs.
Stream here. All right, what's the feedback? What are the audience members saying?
I got to fix my shirt, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What's wrong with your shirt?
Shout out, Peter. Fix my shirt. I don't know. Tell me.
Oh, okay.
Is it good?
It looks good to me.
He'll tell me if it's not.
Okay, here I can adjust the camera a little bit if you want. No.
It's fine.
We were we were talking a moment ago. Let's talk about the cell phone stuff, because we can talk about that here as part of the exclusive.
Sure.
So businesses, I would think, are often looking for hard factual data upon which to make their decisions.
Correct.
And the more information you have, you don't want information paralysis, but the more information you have, the better informed your decisions. You have a new technology, relatively new technology, that you're able to harness and use here in Southwest Michigan. Can you talk about that, please?
Yeah, so this is a well-kept secret, both that it exists and that, we've managed to purchase the software, but it's a company that essentially, and this is creepy, but it's already happening.
It's happening everywhere.
It's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
It tracks cell phone data. So, it doesn't say, okay, Ken, I know that you've been to, Big Sharks down the road 14 times this week. I think you have a problem.
Yeah.
But it does know that, and somebody walked in there. They know generally where that person lives and a lot of socioeconomic information about them. So, to use some other examples, I'm able to essentially geofence locations using this software.
Okay.
And help give insights to businesses that on information that they just wouldn't have through their point of sale system, their POS system. So, you might have someone's address, but we're talking actual profiles on who your ideal customer avatar is. And that's super useful information. It gives you traffic patterns. It gives you, just visitors, visit duration. It knows where the most, like, if you go to, say, Silver Beach, I can geofence all of Silver Beach, and it can tell me, okay, where do those folks come from? And while they're here, where are the 5 or 6 other places that they like to go? So if you think about that, Silver Beach Pizza is always on that list.
Sure.
Some of the shops downtown are always on that list. And so that kind of answers the question, is that amenity important to these businesses? And the answer that I've found overwhelmingly is yes. It can also track, what voids are there in this marketplace. It'll tell you if you want to open, an ice cream shop on this corner, is this community too saturated from that standpoint? Not saturated fat, but just saturated. I'm cracking the surface of what this is capable of. And we've purchased it through some sponsorships that we were able to secure. Shout out to Whirlpool and to the senior PGA, KitchenAid senior PGA folks. We used it for the championship to make more informed decisions there, but it's available. So if there are any businesses listening or watching that are interested in learning more insights about who walks in their door and who they should target, come find us.
Yeah. I mean, so what does that look like if a business is interested in understanding, okay, people are going from point A to point B, are they coming by my place? And if not, why not? how do they what can they expect from your thing engaging you on the service?
Yeah, so we'll sit down and have sort of a mini consultation. It really doesn't take very long, and again, there's absolutely no cost. It's a free service that we want to provide, and we'll essentially generate a report for them that has everything from their number of visits, their visitor duration, to demographics on the folks that are walking in the door, which direction they're coming from, where they're coming from before, where they're going to after. It's robust, and we can pull any number of reports. So it all kind of depends on what the proprietor walks in seeking to learn.
That's fascinating. It's blowing my mind because all the data that it can potentially provide is really exciting. Here's what I want. You ready? Okay. I want to know how many people are on their cell phones while they're driving.
Oh, gosh.
And I want to pinpoint those people. I want to send the sheriff's office after
I was going to say none now that we've changed the law.
Right. Wink.
There was a wink there.
No, that's incredible information. Have people been using it, businesses?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So
you had KitchenAid Senior PGA. That must have been cool.
Yeah. We pulled the number of reports for them. We've found, interestingly, that it is extremely useful for municipalities.
Okay.
So we're able to even geofence entire communities. So like we were talking about the city of Bridgman,
right,
and the Celebrate Bridgman festival that's coming up. I can geofence that entire community and tell you how many people show up to that event, where they go after, so on and so forth. And so we can even measure the tangible impact of events with this thing.
That is
which
super
is
cool.
Really cool.
Yeah, that's super cool. And you bought the software, so you've got it in house.
We do. It's a yearly subscription, so we're pleased to have it for the next several months, and then we'll be back at trying to get sponsorships to make sure we can keep providing it as a free service.
Okay, we'll be back in just a moment. More with Arthur Havlicek from the Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
Hit especially hard by slumping demand as customers choose ground shipping over pricier air freight. Stocks were mixed in yesterday's session, with tech leading the gains. The NASDAQ was the standout, jumping just over 1.25%. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
And we'll have the latest from ABC, national and international news in just a moment. We're continuing our conversation with Arthur Havlicek. He is the president and CEO of Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber. And if you were able to join us on the video live stream, you heard about some really, really cool technology that they have in-house at the chamber right now that basically opens the door to a lot of data that you might not otherwise have just by tracking people's cell phones. But it's anonymous.
It's anonymous.
It's anonymized.
Creepy still, but anonymous.
Creepy still. But, I mean, honestly, being a needle in a haystack these days, that's what we are.
Yeah.
We're all needles in the haystack. And so it doesn't give me any additional paranoia to know that somewhere on somebody's radar, I'm a blip and they're looking at me to see, oh, well, are they driving here? Are they driving there? What kind of attractions are they enjoying while they're doing that? So if you want to learn more about that, you can go back and listen to that portion of the program. Just go to our Facebook page and search for WSJM. Look for the video. We'll continue the conversation with Arthur in just a moment. We're going to talk about some of the key challenges facing Berrien County and the state of our economy overall in Southwest Michigan and some of the things that they're talking about. We'll have local news and local sports coming up in just a moment. Do want to take a look at the forecast for a moment before we get to our ABC news. The temperature outside right now is about 72 degrees. It's going to be hot and humid and muggy today. After the clouds clear out today, we'll have partly sunny skies, a 40% chance of showers and storms, mainly before noon today. So just if those clear out, then we're going to get the sunny skies, a high today somewhere in the lower to mid 80s, and west winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight's forecast, partly cloudy skies, cooler and less humid. Good news there. Low around 55 degrees. The north winds are going to be 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow's forecast, mostly sunny, a high around 78. And the extended forecast, when we get into Friday, we're still going to see a chance of showers, but it's going to be partly sunny. The showers and thunderstorm chance is going to be mainly late in the day and into the evening. The high on Friday is going to be around 80 degrees. So perfect with that lower humidity if that holds, and a low overnight around 57 degrees. Saturday, partly sunny, 50% chance of showers. Sunday and Monday and Tuesday, partly sunny. Doesn't seem like there's much of a chance of showers at all. Again, we're looking at around 72 degrees in Benton Harbor and St. Joseph right now. You're listening to The Morning Show on WSJM.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has returned to his home country of Australia hours after pleading guilty to publishing U.S. secrets in a deal with the U.S. Justice Department. Evan Gerskovich, the journalist imprisoned in Russia, has just begun his trial. Moscow accuses him of espionage, a charge the U.S. and the Wall Street Journal, his employer, strongly deny. The Supreme Court is expected to deliver some of its remaining cases today. ABC's Terry Moran is there.
12 cases left for the justices to decide, including some of the biggest cases of the year. There's that major abortion case out of Idaho, which pits that state's ban on abortions unless necessary to prevent death against a federal law that says that any patient who comes into an emergency room must get emergency care, even in those rare and tragic instances when that care might mean the termination of a pregnancy.
Also to be decided whether presidents, including Donald Trump, should have absolute immunity from criminal prosecution. This is ABC News.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
And taking a look at what's happening from the WSJM Newsroom, local news, police are investigating the robbery of the Dollar General store in Berrien Springs on Tuesday. The Berrien Springs Orinoco Township Police Department tells us the suspect walked into the store on M139 near George Street around 8:55 in the morning wearing black clothing and a black ski mask. He threatened employees with a handgun and demanded money, allegedly then left the scene with an undisclosed amount of cash. A police canine tracked the suspect several hundred yards before losing the scent. Police described the suspect as a black male, 5'8" to 6 feet tall, had a thin build. Anyone with information on the robbery is asked to contact the Berrien Springs Orinoco Township Police Department. No injuries reported related to that robbery. Two men from Southwest Michigan are facing charges in a Kalamazoo County murder. Michigan State Police say in December of 2022, the body of 33-year-old LaShawn Keith was found in a field in Van Buren County's Geneva Township. Detectives determined that Keith had been assaulted and killed in Kalamazoo County, and then his body was taken to Van Buren County. Through their investigation, state police identified the two suspects, 29-year-old Brian Christopher Wimbley of Hartford and 22-year-old Zachary Stephen Traynor of Waterville. The pair were arrested last week. They've now been charged with open murder. Both men have been arraigned and remain in the Kalamazoo County Jail. If convicted, they face the potential of life in prison. The Berrien County Opioid Task Force has awarded more than $900,000 to two partners selected by the county to help fight opioid addiction using class action lawsuit settlement funds expected to arrive over the next 18 years. Berrien County Health Officer Guy Miller tells us the county will receive about $8.4 million as a result of the national lawsuit involving opioid production, promotion, and distribution. We'll tell you about who's getting the money and how they're going to use it coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. It is the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. Thanks for joining us. We have our guest in studio that we'll continue our conversation with in just a few minutes, Arthur Havlicek, who is the president and CEO of the Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. Local sports coming up after this look of state news.
The Michigan News Network.
I'm Beth Fisher. Retail sales rose in.
All right.
There seems to be an unnecessary number of buttons on that.
Right? I this is my bad because I found out that there are programmable buttons that I can hit one button, it can do a lot of different stuff. I owe Terry Green, our engineer, a schematic of how I want it to go. But there are at least 3 or 4 different scenarios so far that I've identified in how it should go. And to complicate that, each one of these little slider things here is programmable to like 56 different inputs.
Oh my God.
So if you think about the input issue when you turn on your TV, it's like, do I want to play a game or do I want to watch cable or do I want to watch satellite or whatever, or internet? I have 56 of those for each one of these sliders. And Arthur, yeah, each one. Well, they're all the same, but I can,
Yeah.
And the switch that changes, the selector switch, is dirty on each one of these. So it skips around.
Oh, no.
So sometimes when I try to get Sarah on, it skips over the phone. And so I have to sit there and just nice and gentle.
Yeah.
These are the woes. that I have.
I see. Yeah.
Anyway. Anyway, did you fix your shirt? Did we look good on camera now?
Yeah, again, I could, know.
I think it looks fine. Let's see what our listeners are saying here today. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, Teresa says your shirt is fine.
Thank you, Teresa.
Yeah, Teresa is one of our favorites, and
she's now my favorite.
She says your shirt is fine.
Good.
There's another person, another Teresa here, who says the chamber is a Republican-led ridiculous organization that favors specific businesses, not all.
Huh.
So there's that. In your response.
So nonpartisan organization.
Yeah.
We think in terms of good policy, bad policy, not good party, bad party, and we consider ourselves the sane center in what has become the sane center in what has become a pretty wild political environment. So, we want businesses, all businesses, to succeed, whether they're members or not.
Very nice. Let's see what else. Bill says, "Good morning."
Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, guys. His name's not really Bill, but because he got Facebook hacked, he had to change his whole identity. And then there's Diane. Hi, Diane. It's good to see you again. She says hi, Teresa and Bill. We have a lot of people watching on our Facebook, YouTube, and X live streams. We can do that every morning, 7 to 8 a.m. And if you have a guest that you want to suggest, let us know. That goes for you too, Arthur. If you have a guest that you want us to bring in, we'll be more than happy to do it. Berrien County's population is 152,900 as of 2022. The GDP of Berrien County is $9 million. How is the economic climate of Berrien County? How does that compare to what you've seen in the past? What kind of trend are we on?
Yeah, so, like everything, there's good news and bad news, right? So I'll start with the good news, and that is we still are a phenomenal place to live. Not just visit. Low cost of living, high quality of life, plenty of amenities. We're within, 40 minutes to an hour to 2 hours of a lot of major markets.
Yes.
We, are considered sort of a microcosm of the state in terms of our industry makeup here with high skill manufacturing. We've got a large high skill healthcare system presence locally, a big agricultural, large agricultural footprint locally, obviously tourism. And so when you think of all those things, you think, wow, this is like Michigan just shrunk down into the, into the corner of the state. And for all intents and purposes, things are going pretty well. However, for several decades now, actually, our population has been shrinking. And this is something that, we and myself personally, and we at the chamber are doing our best to talk a lot about, because we need to be a community that's growing.
Yes.
Michigan as a whole has struggled with population. It's underperformed. It's the 49th fastest growing state, unfortunately, over the last 20 years. But Southwest Michigan and Berrien County in particular is underperforming Michigan. So we're getting smaller population-wise. We're getting older than the state average, which is older than the national average. And folks are actually, we're seeing us get less educated, which is not a fun stat to throw out there. So less post-secondary education pursuits, which is sort of a trend that we're seeing everywhere these days. But, if everyone in Southwest Michigan is going to prosper, which is ultimately what we want, regardless of who you are, where you work, we need to be a high skill, high wage concentration of businesses and what's called a knowledge economy. And in order to do that, we need to have high skill individuals that choose here of all places to live. You're seeing places like Denver, Dallas, Chattanooga, Orlando, Tampa, all grow exponentially in population and in prosperity to boot. They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And so we need to grow population quickly, and prosperity will follow soon after.
I mean, one of the reasons I love Southwest Michigan is because it's not too crowded. And and when I say too crowded, I talk about some of the metropolitan areas. I've lived in Seattle, where it can take you 2 hours to go 10 miles.
Yeah.
I've lived in Washington, D.C., same, right? I don't want to experience that here. We're not facing that here. It's beautiful. But at the same time, if we're losing population and we're losing education as far as where people are, that means also that we're probably losing our young people, which are driving the economy.
Well, and that's the thing. So we have a high concentration of, older or aged or non-working age, they call it, which is like 55 up. Although we're seeing that kind of bump out even more. And what that translates to is, a difficult and tight labor environment where if we don't have a large population of working age individuals, 20 to 55, then we're going to struggle to keep some of these industries and some of these businesses afloat. That's going to lead to higher costs, longer wait times, you name it. And for the folks that are here that love this area and want to call it home, I don't want to see it get more difficult for them to be here with less folks basically around to serve them.
Yeah, we'll talk about more on the economy and the region and more about what the Chamber has its sights on as far as helping to improve that situation in just a moment. It's the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. Joining me this morning is Arthur Havlicek, President and CEO of the Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber. If you have a question on the video live stream, just put it into the chat. We'll take a look at it and bring it forward. Be civil. Be civil. I'm pointing at the camera now, not you. Yeah. So we'll talk in just a moment. It is the WSJM Morning Show.
Young people in their dorm rooms who are fast swiping with stocks.
With Tech Trends, I'm Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Cue the fireworks and celebrate Independence Day with the Omaha Steaks 4th of July sale. Save 50% off site-wide and fire up the perfect backyard cookout with tender steaks, juicy burgers, deli-style franks, and more family favorites. Shop today at omahasteaks.com and score an extra $30 off when you use promo code QUALITY at checkout. Plus, every purchase is backed by their unconditional money-back guarantee. Hurry, because this offer won't last long. That's omahasteaks.com. Promo code QUALITY at checkout.
Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Mostly cloudy skies to start. A slight chance of a shower for the first part of the day, becoming partly sunny this afternoon. High temperatures will be near 80 inland. We'll stay in the low to mid 70s at the beaches. Tonight down to 55 with cooler and less humid conditions. And mostly sunny on Thursday with high temperatures at 75. I'm WSBT 22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
7:43 is the time, and 71 degrees outside in Benton Harbor right now is the temperature. It's humid out there, so it's muggy. Be prepared for that. If you're having a bad hair day, welcome to another one. The topic we're covering this morning is the region's economy. We're talking with President and CEO of the Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber, Arthur Havlicek. Arthur, thank you for joining us this hour. We had a great discussion on the video live stream just a moment ago, talking about some of the issues facing Southwest Michigan, our economy, our quality of life overall, and a lot of them have their roots in population. We talk about declining population, not only in the state of Michigan, but also acute in some areas of Southwest Michigan. Beyond the population shrinkage and what that brings with it, the problems and challenges it brings, what other areas of resistance are businesses facing here locally?
Yeah, so a lot of them stem from that population issue because it puts us into what's known as sort of a negative growth cycle. The less folks that we have moving here and working here, that's less consumers that are patronizing businesses. That's less workers working at those businesses. That's less tax dollars that are being generated to keep up communities and reinvest in those communities so that they are places that people want to move to, right? So it's this loop that we need to break and transition it into a positive growth cycle. The other reason we need to do that is because, our labor market challenges right now are extremely tight. And the chamber is doing a number of things on that front, a number of very innovative and collaborative partnerships to try to solve some of those issues. But that's a problem everywhere. And so we need to understand we're being pulled by these national trends and need to find a way to, do this moonshot around those trends if we're going to be successful. And then, as we've seen since the pandemic, inflation has subsided, but prices have not.
Right.
Important distinction for everyone to remember now that we're heading into an election year. Just because your CPI percentage is lower than some of the 8s and 9% that we've seen, prices have not gone down.
No.
They still are high.
They're outrageous.
They're outrageous. And for most folks who are not even considered paycheck to paycheck,
right?
You feel it, and so there's economic tightening that's going on, that's hurting businesses and squeezing things right now during our peak summer season that businesses can't afford.
Yeah. And so you talk about it's going to take a moonshot because, as you mentioned, the population issue is not just affecting us in Southwest Michigan. It's something the governor had a task force about last year, brought forward some, I guess, recommendations of some sort that don't appear to have been acted on too much. How are we going to get everyone on the same page? Republicans, Democrats, Independents, everybody else, to figure out how to support this kind of moonshot that gets us back to where we want to be.
Yeah, so the challenge is it's always everyone I think agrees that growth is necessary, but what are the strategies to get there? And one thing Michigan has struggled with, being a purple state, going from red to blue is continuity and strategy. So if every 4 years or every 8 years we're completely reversing everything that we've done, we're doing this stop, start, move 2 steps forward, move 2 steps back instead of making progress. Meanwhile, states like Tennessee have invested in their like community colleges, for example, and have pushed to increase educational attainment. They've created a very hyper-competitive business environment. Indiana, we see that being on the border. If we had Indiana's growth rate, population growth rate, we'd have over 1.4 million more people in our state today, working, contributing, and enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that we see across the border. There have been a couple of data centers announced, Amazon, Microsoft. That's huge. I know we're trying to be in the mix for those as well, but we're not seeing that come across the border in Michigan. Why not? We're better. We look better. We have better roads. Come on.
Policies matter, Ken. And, what we all need to remind ourselves constantly is that, capital is fungible. Business can go anywhere, right? Population, folks can move anywhere. We need to be competitive. We need to be competitive with our neighbors, Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, Wisconsin, because we're not performing very well, even within our Midwest competitors. We tend to think that we're losing things to kind of the Sun Belt states, but most of our population leaves within region. We need to be more competitive from that standpoint to make this a more attractive place to live, but also a more attractive place to work. The reason we're seeing these massive billion-dollar projects locate elsewhere is simply a more competitive environment.
Okay. All right. We're talking with Arthur Havlicek. He's the president and CEO of the Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber. We're going to come back in just a moment for our Moody on the Market update. And I think as part of that, let's just talk about the recent successes that the chamber has seen and some of the the next steps that we're going to see as well. We've got a few more minutes with Arthur Havlicek from the chamber. We'll talk with him here on the WSJM Morning Show.
#Radio obsessed. In the instance of an emergency, it is critical everyone have a battery-operated or hand-crank broadcast radio in their emergency supply kit. Most trust that their smartphone and the internet will work for critical information when disaster strikes. Time and time again, networks go down or get knocked offline. Local radio broadcasters remain our community's most important first informers, working closely with public safety officials at every level, keep you updated on critical.
Yeah, so the 3 hours from 6 to 9 goes by incredibly fast every day. And I love it because, I start my workday at 4 a.m. And, technically speaking, I could be out of here by noon every day.
Yeah.
I never make it, but
right.
But it could be fun. But no, it's been good having you for this hour. I feel like there's probably a lot more we could unpack on different topics 100%. And issues. I am curious, before we get back to the Moody on the Market update, In 60 seconds, what'd you do while you were in Lansing?
So I held a number of staff roles, always the person behind the person, everything from sort of a constituent relations advisor, where I was helping legislators' constituents kind of navigate bureaucracy and remove issues. You never call your legislator for a good thing. It's always, I've got this issue,
Right.
the state's holding something up. We would help navigate that. So
Okay.
that was my first role. My next role was legislative director for a state representative, where I was involved in crafting two $1.5 billion budgets, passing 7 state laws that I helped write. So I'm really proud of that work. And then I was an advisor to the Speaker of the House and kind of their liaison to the West Michigan delegation. So I advised about 15 legislators at a time to be effective both in Lansing and at home.
You were in a lot of the rooms.
A lot of the rooms, yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I want to hear some of those stories. Let's tell them all. No, hang on. We'll be right back.
Community.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
And my friend this morning is Arthur Havlicek. He's with the Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber. We were talking again just a moment ago about some of his time in Lansing. If you ever think about, hey, I want to be a fly on the wall in the room where some of these decisions are being talked about and made, and how they're working through some of the goals that they're getting to, Arthur was the person in that room. And he continues to be in that room here at the Chamber of Commerce, the Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber. So thanks for joining us this morning, and thanks for doing what you do. Let's talk a little bit about the chambers and successes, but let's make it part of the Moody on the Market update, which is brought to you by Insurance Management Service. You can call IMS today, your local auto owner's insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. Hopefully they're a member of the chamber. If they're not,
they are.
We got their phone number.
They are.
What are some of the successes that you're working on right now? What's some of the direction and next steps for the chamber as well?
Yeah, so let's just start with, I guess, general successes, just so that everyone has kind of an idea on the organization's trajectory, because I'm really proud of the work that myself and the team and our board and our ambassadors have done over the last 4 years to really take the chamber from where it was to where it is today. And we already have the next 5-10 years charted for where we want to go. We're wasting no time at all. So our membership is up significantly. We had over 60 members join last year organically because they see the value in our work. We're up another 30 this year already. We continue to host events at a pretty aggressive clip. And we just calculated this last quarter alone, we hosted over 1,000 people across the different events that we were responsible for organizing and managing. As folks know, we held our annual breakfast in February, quarter Q1, and that breakfast alone had 630 people there.
That's great.
So the reason I bring these things up is because, one of our KPIs is engagement. Your number of members, the number of attendees at the things that you do and you put on, and our engagement has never really been higher. We're setting records for attendance at pretty much everything we do, and I'm very, very proud of that. So we've also doubled our staff in the 4 years that I've been here, and now have more staff than the chamber's had since 1991, before I was born.
Huh.
And we've done it in a very short period of time, $300 at a time.
Wow.
And so I think that, a lot of this success is because we've been moving with a sense of urgency to serve this community and coming out with new and innovative programs. The Berrien Talent Collaborative, I know the formidable Al Pashalka was on this program earlier, and he was talking about the Berrien Talent Collaborative. That's a partnership between the Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber, the Greater Niles Chamber, Lake Michigan College, and Berrien RISA on what we've been trying to call a talent supply chain. It's an apprenticeship program, the first county-wide youth apprenticeship program in the state. We're extremely proud of that work. We've also partnered with the college. They're a great partner and a great collaborator on Leadership Accelerator. So all the challenges that we could talk about, and there's plenty of them. We're not going to solve any of them if we don't have leaders. Leadership Accelerator is the premier leadership development program for the community. We partnered with them on it last year, graduated 30 new leaders into the community. We're about to graduate another 30 this July, and we're seeing those the applications for those cohorts, another KPI, get more and more and more competitive as more people become aware of the program and want to participate in it. We've done a really, really good job of taking our next generation young professionals program and breathing life into that. Shout out to the Next Gen board and to Jasmine on our staff for really doing a phenomenal job bringing that back. In its simplest terms, that's to engage the young folks in this community, to get them connected with each other, get them connected with things going on, and embed them so that they're invested here and they don't want to leave here. And then, we've spent a lot of time over this last quarter in particular standing up the Bridgman Chamber and Growth Alliance.
That's right.
So the Bridgman Chamber and Growth Alliance is a subsidiary of our organization. It's an independent 501c3 entity that we kind of operate as sort of the back end for. We were able to hire Nancy Kiernan, who we're extremely happy to have, and she has been on the ground, boots on the ground, doing local business and economic development work in Bridgman. And the place Bridgman is thriving. It's growing. And I think that's because we have this community-led, economic development model, but that's regionally supported and aligned. So that has allowed us to be both a mile wide and a mile deep at the same time. It's been a lot of work, but we're really proud of it.
Yeah, that's so a lot of the successes that you're talking about, and it's especially encouraging to hear about the growth of the membership, especially as we're hearing about population decline in Southwest Michigan and in Michigan generally, but to see that membership growing. Obviously, there's some attrition that happens with businesses and transition. Yep. Where are we in 10 years? What's your map?
As a community?
Sure.
So our vision as an organization is to propel Southwest Michigan to national prominence as a place where business thrives, talent resides, and quality of life is second to none.
Yeah.
That's our vision. I've got it memorized because it's that important. And so 10 years from now, I want to have seen us move dramatically up every conceivable national ranking in each one of those categories. I think we can do it. We have amenities that you can't attract. We've got the lake. We've got all these state parks, county parks, city parks. We've got all these things that we have inherently here. Fortune 500 and Whirlpool and all these other phenomenal businesses. And so, how can we leverage those assets, tell our story, and show this as a place where businesses can thrive and talent can reside? If we get, I think, aligned, and that's a key word, aligned as a community and where we want to go and what we want to be when we grow up, we can get there, and we'll do it faster than most people would think.
How can people get more information about the chamber and some of the things that we've been talking about this morning?
www.smrchamber.com is our website, and it's got a lot of information about what we do, all of our upcoming events and programs. You can sign up for our email that goes out every Friday that's jam-packed with information, or listen here for the appearance of the great Sarah Spoonholtz, who will come and share regular updates with folks like yourself.
Thank you very much. Arthur Havlicek, the president and CEO of the Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber. Thanks for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
We'll talk more. ABC News is next.
We're watching over you. IMS Insurance Manager.
Thank you for joining us on the video live stream today. Arthur, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Ken. I appreciate it. And thanks everyone for watching.
Yeah, absolutely. And give us your feedback. We want to know how Arthur did because his shirt was crooked at the beginning. I didn't want to say anything personally, but somebody else called it out. No, I'm just kidding. It looks nice.
Thank you. It's become the thing.
All the best. All the best to your family, and can continue having a lot of fun with Nora, your new 9-month-old.
9-month-old.
All right.
Pride and joy.
Thanks, Arthur.
Thank you.
Bye.